Daniel Condon.
Yeah, wow.
How you would introduce yourself?
Well, I'm a professional CrossFit coach, and I've been living in Switzerland now for 3.5 years. And I guess people will listen to this podcast maybe after I make my big announcement this week that I'm actually leaving the country to go and work in the United States. I had my visa approved last week, and I'm going to be managing CrossFit Naples, which is a very cool gym in Florida in the United States, with Matt Torres, who's one of the very famous CrossFit Games coaches from Brute Strength, who coaches Emma Carey, Dallin Pepper, Phil Toon, James Spragg, and these are all Fee Sagafi. They're all probably going to make the games this year, and they're all training there at Naples as well. So I'm going to be training and living with them up until the games this year. So this is like a super exciting part of my life about to start. So yeah, that's just something that's happening with me right now. I'm a professional coach. That's what I am.
Cool. Sounds great. We know us maybe 3 years now.
Yeah.
We may meet us 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I really didn't know that much about your past.
Yeah.
You're from Australia, down under.
Yes. Yep.
What was your background when you was a child and when you start doing some sports and stuff?
Yeah. So I grew up in Western Sydney in a city called Penrith, and Penrith is a beautiful city at the foot of the Blue Mountains, about 50 minutes out of like the typical stereotypical Sydney that you think of with the Harbour Bridge and the Opera House. And it's a town where people are really passionate about their sport. People live for their sport. And I grew up in an area where people played soccer or football, as you call it, as I call it now. Cricket, rugby league's a big sport in Australia.
Yeah.
But I grew up playing sports, and my parents they immigrated to Australia from Ireland.
Ah, you're from Ireland. So
Yeah.
your roots in Ireland.
Yes.
Okay.
But so my father was like, you're playing football, so soccer. So I played soccer from when I was about 9 years old till 22.
Okay.
And always loved sports and been involved in sports. So yeah, I grew up having a pretty good sporting background. I played soccer. I did archery, shooting arrows at targets for 12 years as well after soccer. So actually made it to the elite level with archery. I was on the Olympic shadow training squad.
Okay, go.
Trying to go to the Olympics in Athens in 2004, but I never made it. But I was always striving to be very, very good at the things that I was pursuing in sport. And now I guess I'm doing that from a coaching perspective because I'm getting old now. And it's CrossFit is a sport where you can continue to do it at a high level. You know, we have one of the only sports that has a great masters international competition. But I don't really see myself as the coach now. I sort of somewhere in the last 5 years, I retired from the athlete and became more the coach. So I spend so many hours a day writing programming and coaching others that, it's a different role for me now.
When you start with CrossFit?
I started in 2000. I was 29, so I started quite late. I think it was 2009. Because I went to the like the regionals as part of a team in 2000. I think it was 2011. It's the second year I was doing it. But back then, you could go to regionals if you could do muscle ups. So
but still,
it was a different level then.
Still, you have to do it.
Yeah. So that's when I started. So I've been doing it for far out. How many years is that? 12, 14 years.
That's a long time.
And you, how long have you been? You're about the same, I think. I started
28 around, but that was 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, little after you. Yeah, because when you started 2007, 2009.
2009, I think it was.
2009 in Switzerland, there is only one CrossFit box.
Yeah.
It was CrossFit Basel. There was no one else around here.
Wow.
So we didn't know nothing about CrossFit at that time.
Yeah.
It was really like far away.
Yeah, I remember when my first CrossFit gym that I went to was called CrossFit Penrith, and they were I think they were in the first 15 or 20 in Australia. Okay. They were one of the first ones. And you would go to the local competitions, and all the best CrossFitters in Australia would just be at the local competitions.
Yeah.
which was really fun.
You did a lot of competitions in that at that time.
At that time, yeah, there wasn't that many around. So there would be
Yeah.
like maybe two or four a year. So for the first few years, I would do as many as I could.
Yeah, of course.
But then once the Open started to be the big event, it was really just about being as fit as possible for the Open, and yeah, that became the focus, because it just didn't seem like the other competitions were not important if you wanted to do well in the Open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So then you made it to the regionals 2011 in a team.
Yeah, in a team.
All teammates are from that time, or even now you have to be at the same from the same box.
We were all from the same box.
It was the same then.
Yeah, there was some super talented young athletes in my team. So I was the oldest one, being at 29 or 28, and then there was two young girls, Courtney Fitzharris, who was like 16 at the time, 15 or 16.
Yeah,
and I remember that was so. At that regionals, the girls there was kettlebell swings in one workout, and the girls had to swing a 24 kilo kettlebell.
Yes.
And people couldn't believe that this 15-year-old girl could swing the 24 kilo kettlebell, because it was like more than half her body weight, but she swung it.
Yeah.
And then she went on to become one of the best in the years ahead, the best CrossFit athletes in Australia. She went to the CrossFit Games.
She went to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah,
That was what I want to ask you, because what happens with those three guys then afterwards?
So Courtney went to I think there was 4 others in the team besides me. I think it was a team of 5, because you could have one reserve rotating. Courtney went to the CrossFit Games as part of the team with CrossFit Active. I can't remember what year that was. And then one of the other girls in the team, one of my best friends, Justine Beath, she went as an individual in 2016 and 2018. Nice.
Cool.
And when she went to the games, she was absolutely dominant in Australia. She was one of the best athletes. And when she went to the games, she changed her programming to brute strength.
Ah, nice.
And
but you already was a part of brute strength at that time?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
But this is actually a cool story. So she had a coach who she really respected, but she knew she'd been with this coach for a while, and she knew something needed to change. So we went out for a coffee together. I still remember when we sat down, and because we talked about like who could she possibly be coached by, and I'd done the research and I looked at brute strength. Yeah. And I saw that they had specialists in every aspect of CrossFit. They had a weightlifting specialist, a gymnastics specialist, a swimming coach, and a track and field coach. Had Chris Henshaw at the time. Aerobic capacity coach was Chris Henshaw. And I said, this has got to be the best system on the market. Yeah. And they'd already had a couple of great seasons with athletes going to the CrossFit Games. I think that year they'd won the team event at the CrossFit Games.
Okay.
And it was between brute strength and I think maybe training think tank at the time. Anyway, she went, I advised her brute strength, and she went with brute strength. And then Nick Fowler, who's now my boss, became her coach. And she made it to the games in the next year, it was fantastic, to see someone that I remember when she couldn't even do a push-up.
Yeah, of course.
When I started, I was crushing push-ups.
Yes.
I also did boxing when I was younger. Yeah. So before CrossFit, I was a boxer. I had 3 amateur fights.
Okay.
And we used to do a lot of push-ups. Yeah. And running and push-ups and skipping, I was very good at when I started CrossFit. But weightlifting, not so much. Yeah. And I remember when Justine and we basically started doing CrossFit together, but she was like 20 and I was 29. Yeah. And she was like, she admits this herself. She could barely do push-ups. Then to see her get to the CrossFit Games, and the year she went, they had to do Murph out in the sun that year.
Oh, that was, I remember that.
It was very famous that Annie Thor's daughter got heat exhaustion that year. But yeah, so I've seen a lot of growth in the sport, and I've seen something that I'm really proud and like something special that I've seen. I've seen people go from being not fit to be at the absolute pinnacle of the sport. So I know what's possible, and I know what kind of work ethic you have to have. And that's really helped me as a coach, because when I meet people, if I don't see that work ethic in them, I know that they probably not going to make it. Yeah. So as a coach, that's something I'm trying to, when I meet someone, how can I instill that work ethic? How can I motivate them to do what I've seen done already? Yeah. And with brute strength, we've the company has coached so many athletes to the CrossFit Games,
Yes.
so much success.
There's so much knowledge behind.
Yeah. And with Brute Strength, we're a team of coaches. So there's 6 of us, and 2 of the coaches will probably get to the CrossFit Games this year. They're still competing.
Yeah.
And all the others are just like full-time professional coaches.
Yes.
And there's so much knowledge shared between all of us. We all want to see each other's athletes succeed, and we talk about each other's athletes. And it's a very exciting company to work with.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
But that's the first time I've got to tell you how I actually
Because we
got
never
there.
talked about that, how everything
Yeah.
starts. When do you start with brute strength? Do you work when it starts when you work with brute strength?
So this is my 3rd year with Brute Strength.
Yeah.
So I just finished working for another strength and conditioning online company in Australia, who I learned a lot from, and
That was your start as a coach then with this company, or
yeah. So that I've always been very fascinated with individual program design. So I did a bunch of courses through the Czech Institute in the United States, which is a California-based strength and conditioning company, but they really focus on a holistic approach. So they look at nutrition, sleep, emotional stress, all of that, as well as being very into functional movements. They were actually doing functional movements way before functional movements were cool. So I did my courses in program design before I'd heard about CrossFit.
Yeah.
And then when CrossFit came along, I was like, oh, this is like a sport of functional program
fitness, yeah.
design. So I was really drawn to it. And so I was working for, the company was Raw Strength and Conditioning, and they were actually Brent Fikowski's first coach, and coached Brent Fikowski to the CrossFit Games the first time.
Yes.
And Rob is the owner of the company. He was my coach at the same time too. So I finished working for them, and then about 2 months later, my friend Justine in Australia, the girl who managed the CrossFit Games, she sent me a message, said, hey, Brute Strength are advertising for an online coach. You should apply for it. I was like, oh, yeah, I should.
Yeah.
And I did, and lucky I got the job.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. You talked about Brent Fikowski. You was a coach of him, right? Or
No.
not a coach, but you're like, you supporting him at some point?
I would describe my role with him as, I was definitely not his coach. So he always had another coach, but I was trusted by his coaches to be with him at the CrossFit Games, and we just became really good friends, and also very good friends with his wife, is Australian as well, Claire Fikowski. And I worked with Brent, worked with him. I assisted him at the CrossFit Games, so I stayed with him and his wife at the CrossFit Games and just helped them with meal prep and anything he needed, basically, or I would relay information from his coach to him. But he really trusted me, and I have so much respect for him. He's, one of the best athletes in the world in our sport, still is. And I was very privileged to be behind the scenes for so many of his CrossFit Games.
And you went multiple times to the
Yes.
games as a supporter, kind of helper, whatever.
Yes. And that was fantastic. And I learned a lot from just being around Brent, because he is so, he's known as the professor, but he is so professional with everything he does, down to his nutrition, his sleep, his training, his mobility. He's always working on his craft. And he's like the best example for any young athlete, or how if you want to be good, you have to dedicate everything to it. And I just learned a lot from what it takes to be the best from spending time with him. And also he's got such a strong mindset as well. Like he's mentally extremely strong. And just a really nice person. And they just had a baby recently. So I hope
heard about that.
I hope to catch up with them this year at the games, because I'll be there again.
Do you go to the games with someone special, or just you go as a visitor, or
every year I've gone as part of the coaching team
with Brute Strength?
Brute
Cool.
Strength,
so
yeah.
You can get, but you don't have like an athlete you really supporting at the games at that time.
No. So in the previous years when I was going to the games, it was because I was given a coach's pass by one of the companies I was working with. So Brute Strength, for example, there's 6 coaches, and I think at the last games we had like 26 athletes. So there's not enough athletes there's not enough coaches
for athletes.
Yeah,
of
so
course.
Each athlete gets given a coach's pass.
Okay.
And if they want to give it to their wife or they want to give it to their best friend, they can. But usually they give it to their coach. But I would usually get a coach's pass from one of the other athletes.
Yeah.
And 2 of the years Brent gave me his coach's pass, even though I wasn't his coach, but like just to be there with him. And then when you have the coach's pass, you're behind the scenes with all the athletes and you're in the warm-up room and you could basically do your best for the athlete.
I would say that's such an important role for an athlete at that time, because you really have to focusing on what you have to do on the field and not think about, okay, I need something to eat, I need something to drink, I need all the stuff. That's a really important role. Yeah.
And I've seen so many amazing behind the scenes moments. Like I was in 2017 was the first year that Tia Claire Toomey won the CrossFit Games. And I was in the warm-up area with her and Shane and all the Australians. We were all together that year. It was just a very good year for Australian CrossFit.
Yeah, I would say they're also on the male side for some good results. And
Yep. And I've just been privileged to be there for so many amazing moments and to see what it takes to get there and what the athletes have to do behind the scenes in the warm-up area. You feel very lucky to be there, but it's such a busy time for every coach. Every coach is just run off their feet. And if you talk to any of the top coaches, they barely ever get to be out on the competition floor. They're just in that warm-up area preparing, and you're pretty exhausted after the end of a competition. You know,
no, I don't know what that's like. It's complete. I would say it's completely different than coaching in a class, or maybe just coaching a little bit on a small competition and on a basic level as we do. But I can imagine.
You guys organised the Swiss Throwdown, which I was lucky to be a part of. I was a judge the other week. Yes,
we do.
And that's how exhausted you are, like running around, just putting your energy for
I would
everybody
say
else.
it's a little bit the same. If you're organizing an event or if you have to organize everything around an athlete, maybe a little bit the same. Not exactly, but kind of. You have to think about multiple things. And cool.
Yeah. But this year I have a masters athlete, Mary Beth Promenades. She's probably going to make it to the games in the masters division. She's in the 60 to 64 division.
Okay.
And that's really exciting. So I will this year I'll either have her coach's pass or I will have one from one of the other Brood athletes. Yeah. But Brood's going to have a really strong year this year at the games. I think it's going to be really exciting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Then the masters this year, it's not happened at the same time.
The I don't know. Actually, I haven't seen. I don't know. Do you mean they're not on at the games at the same time?
Yeah, at the same time, but maybe it starts a little earlier, maybe at the beginning of the week, and then ended up. I just remember how it was last year. I only remember that teams and masters didn't held at the same time as the
individuals,
as the individual and the top athletes.
I don't know how it works. I can't.
There is no schedule at the moment for you.
Yeah, no, we don't. Okay. They probably don't even know it themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
There's 2 more weeks before the Masters semi-finals. And this weekend coming, the semi-finals kick off in Australia and the Lowlands, which is I think it's Lowlands.
Lowlands is this weekend, and
it's
then
going to be fun to watch.
What one is in Australia?
The Torian Pro.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody you know over there?
I have a girl in the teams division.
Yeah.
In the same-sex female division. Yeah. So the Torian Pro is really cool because they have obviously have the teams division.
Yeah.
Very similar to Waterpalooza. There's like an elite division, and then they have like mixed teams, same-sex teams. I think they have teenage athletes too.
Okay.
It's a really cool event. It's becoming huge in Australia now.
Quite big.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But that's going to be exciting to watch. Unfortunately, with the time difference in Australia, it'll be the middle of the night, so be watching the highlights when we wake up. Probably.
Yeah, maybe that's easier.
Yeah,
you can scroll that.
Fast forward a little bit.
You don't want to see.
That's true.
Yeah, that's nice.
But yeah.
So then you're for sure at the games this year as well. That's
yes.
Cool.
I might even get to some of the semi-finals in America by the time I get over there.
Yeah.
Because the Granite Games, we have quite a few athletes at the Granite Games. But it really depends how busy I'm going to be with my new job as soon as I arrive. I think I'm.
So you have then when you start in the States now, so you have still to run all your clients, your coaches, your athletes.
Yes.
And you have to be a manager for the gym as well.
Yes.
That's quite should be a little busy.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it's going to be a lot of work, but I'm really excited for it. Like I get a lot of energy from everybody
Yeah, of course.
that I work with in this profession, and that's what they say when you're doing something that you really love. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
You know, it's exciting to get up every day and
That's right.
and see what's going to happen. But yeah, I'll be managing 2 gyms there in Naples. So the CrossFit Naples is a CrossFit affiliate for, I would say, like the everyday athlete, people that are not competing.
As our box or something.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
And they already have a big client base. I'm really excited to meet all the members there. And
That one you can it's like you take over a running business over there, the official box.
yeah, so I'm the general manager,
Yeah.
but the owner is Matt. It's my boss, Matt Torres. Yeah. He's like the president of the company.
Yeah.
And I'm the general manager of the 2 gyms.
Yes.
And the second gym is the Brute Strength's new headquarters.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to actually tell you that how I got the job first at Brute Strength, and now that I'm going to be managing the headquarters.
Yeah, that sounds great.
It's crazy.
Is this
Almost
one
swore,
is this one already open? So it's
not open to the public.
Yes.
But the elite, the professionals are already training in there.
Okay.
But we need to. Basically, when I get there, that's what I'm going to be charged
like
with organizing.
Big opening or something.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's been a work in progress to get the equipment in there. But basically, all Brute athletes, particularly in the United States, are going to be. And I'm pretty sure this is correct. Might need to edit this out if it's wrong. No. All the Brute athletes can come and train there for free anytime.
Yeah.
And if you're on a Brute Strength also does like an Olympic lifting program, gymnastics program. If you want to be on one of those programs, I'm pretty sure you can. If you join the gym, you get those programs for free if you train in the gym.
Okay.
So they're really like releasing a lot of our secret template programs to the public if they become members at the gym, the Brute Strength gym. But also we're going to be running seminars and training camps. Yeah. And this is one of the reasons Matt Torres wanted to have the headquarters in Naples, because the average yearly temperature there is 29 degrees.
That's quite good. You have like
the water temperatures. We can do training camps there where we do all the stuff in the gym, but also swim in the ocean. Or out. You can basically, you're pretty much guaranteed good weather. So it should be exciting. And all my athletes are super excited to get to. Some of them I haven't met in person. I've been training for years. And they actually get to meet me, so I get to meet them. That's going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool.
Where are your athletes from now? Do you have some? They are not only in the States now. So they're all over the world.
Yeah, I have some here in Switzerland, in Italy, in Australia, and the United States. That's all the countries I have. Which is a lot.
Yeah, States should be the biggest part, I would say, because it's a United brand, so the brand from the States, maybe.
Yeah. Brute's marketing hasn't really reached Europe so much.
It's not that big in Europe now. Yeah.
We're kind of, there's kind of a in-joke within the coaches, like we feel we're the best coaching team in the sport, but we're the least, probably we haven't marketed ourselves as well as... say Mayhem, everyone knows CrossFit Mayhem because they've won the game so many times, and everyone knows CompTrain because their marketing team is so good, but we don't have a big marketing team, so we got to work on that. But I think it's going to change a lot with me in the States, because I'm going to be able to push that a lot more from the headquarters, and we have so many great athletes training there that it's going to be and a really exciting task, actually. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to visit you once.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait for you guys to come and visit.
Yeah. Sounds really good.
Yeah.
And it should be Naples is close to Miami, right?
It's about 2 hours drive, so it's pretty close.
It's close for the US.
Yeah, definitely.
So then maybe just combine it with the Wudapalooza and then just come over.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. Like I've already got an apartment lined up there in Naples, so I'm really thankful for that. And I'll make sure by the time you guys get there, I'll have a spare room ready for you, so you can come and stay. And yeah, the gym in Naples is like 10 minutes from the beach, and the beach is really beautiful there.
So cool.
I've been reading, like, now that my visa's approved, I feel like I can now like imagine what it's going to be like.
And now you really can prepare for it.
Yeah.
It was always a little barrier over there.
Yes.
Because you didn't know exactly it happens or not, but now you can just all in.
Like up and down the beaches along that coast of Florida is where all the sea turtles come up onto the beach to lay their eggs. I love, you see those videos of the little sea turtles running into the water. I can't wait to watch that. Like I'll be very
I saw that once in Mexico.
Really?
Yeah, that's quite cool.
I guess
just it's like little brutal, but when the
ghosts
and the birds, they will just catch those little turtles. But that's part of life.
That's why they lay like 100 eggs, I guess, so that at least one of them gets through.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So when you made the decision to go to the States, when it was like
it was
quite
so the opportunity. Yeah, it was like November, December was when it was proposed to me.
Yeah,
and that coincided with like I owned my gym in Zurich, as you know.
Yeah,
it coincided with the time that we were deciding. You know, COVID hit us really hard, and we were going to be able to keep the business open. And I spoke to my business partner Tina about that, and talked about this opportunity. And I managed to struck a deal with her that she basically bought out my shares of the business, so that I could start the process and really make this chance to go to the US and work a reality, because it was. Really a dream come true for me to get over there into the heart of CrossFit. Like in every other country, CrossFit is, that's the mecca to be in the States. I still think because the United States is so massive that you'd go places and people don't know about CrossFit, but definitely it's the most popular country for it in the world. I'm not opening this very easily.
You have just to put this small thing out, then you can open it.
Those fancy bottles.
Yeah, that's
when I decided.
Yeah, maybe the decision you leave or you just give your gym away makes it much easier to decide to go, because otherwise it's always like you're between two chairs and just think about what happens. That's cool.
And I've known for a while that I really want to work with athletes that are striving to put everything into their training. It's obviously love working with people who only want to train a couple times a week, and an hour a day is enough for a lot of people, and that's that's enough for me these days too. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as a coach, like for me to stay engaged and to have that motivation to keep learning, I really want to work with people who are putting in the big hours to make it happen.
Okay, in CrossFit we say everybody's an athlete. I would say that's not true, but. It's really, I would say it's really different to coach a class where you have people, they come twice a week, 1 hour, or if you really coach an athlete, he's willing to put that much effort in, not only focusing on training, focusing on everything else, like nutrition, like sleep, recovery, all the stuff around, because what you told at the beginning, it takes that much if you want to be on top. Maybe there are sports which are easier than CrossFit to make it to the top, I would say. Yeah. Because it takes that many. Only also if you just check out the sport itself. Maybe a few years ago it was easier, but now you have to train everything, like swimming, running, biking, all the stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's hard to bring it in your training. Yeah. That's why a good athlete needs a good coach. So bring all together. Yep. And bring it down to good programming.
Yeah, I think like all the athletes that get to the semifinals, for example, that's like the stage before the CrossFit Games. All of those athletes, they have a coach, they have a nutrition coach, they probably have a really good group of friends around them, a good support network, a very supporting partner. maybe even a mental coach. And you really, the sport is becoming so professionalized now that you need to have all those things to get there. I mean, you always get some freaks out there that can do it all on their own, but I think eventually one of those pieces of the puzzle needs to be filled by a professional coach in some way. And it just when you have a good coach and good programming, that's one thing you don't have to worry about. And if you have a nutrition coach, then it's so complicated knowing what to eat when you're an athlete and how often to eat and how much. If you have someone dictating what that is for you every day, that's another thing you don't have to worry about. Because as you said, the training is so hard. I think this is, in my opinion, the hardest sport to be elite at, because you have to be so good at so many different things.
It's not like soccer, or you have to be good at soccer. If you are a soccer player.
To be a great runner. You're a soccer player.
Yeah, but okay, two points. Like a feeling for the ball, and you have to be a good runner, good endurance. But in CrossFit you have to be the fittest on earth.
Absolutely.
No, that's right.
But that's one of the other reasons I love working for Brute Strength, is because all of the coaches, we all have our own specialities. And like we have a great swimming coach, and I'm not a swimming coach. I also did swimming when I was younger in Australia, and I had a coach, but I was never I wouldn't even say I was.
You quite did a lot of different sports in your young age.
Yes, I love sports. I would prefer to do nothing but do sport all day, but you can't make money.
That's the hard part.
I love training. It's my favorite thing to do. But now that I'm getting older, I just have to listen to my body. I can only do so much if I want to do the same amount again the next day. And but I've always loved sports. Like, I love the whole aspect of preparing to go to training. I love planning my food around training and getting ready, packing my bags. I still remember going to football training when I was younger, and how exciting it was all day to just get to the field and kick the ball around with your friends. It's just the best. And and now as a coach, I have that same feeling when I watch one of my athletes perform. Even watching them train is super satisfying. It's the next best thing to doing it yourself. You have to live through them. I have to live through them.
And you also, that's maybe a special thing. If you do a one-on-one coaching and you can be one-on-one with them, and if you can coach them live, maybe just small cues, 1 cue a day, and you really feel what makes it better. That's really gives you satisfaction, right?
Absolutely. So with online coaching, so that for the last 3 years I've been coaching all of these individuals online, and we use an app called True Coach, where they can take a video and they can send it to me, and I can analyze it. I can give them feedback, or I can forward the video onto, I forward some of the swim videos onto our swimming coach, the weightlifting videos onto our weightlifting coach, and they automatically give each other feedback, and I can pass that on to the athlete. But being there in real time is, so beneficial, and
for both sides.
For both sides, absolutely.
Because the feedback gets immediately. You see a fault, you can already give a feedback.
That's why I think the training camps that have popped up all around the world are being so successful. Like the one in Mallorca with the program, Jacqueline Dahlstrom, Gabrielle Magar.
Gabby Migala.
Butchering her name probably, but all of those teams have proven with Tia and all of the ones that have gone there. The team in Naples that I'm about to join, Underdog Athletics in Las Vegas, the coach is there watching them all the time, and that makes a massive difference. And, not everyone has the ability to just get up and move their life, but I think you're going to see those athletes are going to be on the podium this year. The ones that have their coach with them a lot of the time is going to be very important.
Makes a huge difference.
Because
what do you think about, is there an opportunity to train for the games and have a job at the side? So, or if you just
It is.
It is?
I know that I've talked about this with some of my other friends before, and I always talk about Brent Fikowski. Maybe he'll listen to this podcast one day.
Hope so.
When he qualified for the games for the the first time in 2016.
Yeah.
Was his first games. That's the first year I met him. So he was working full-time as an accountant.
Yeah.
And he lived in Canada in the middle of,
Nowhere.
No, I can't remember. I can't remember
know.
the name. But in the wintertime, it's snowing there, right? Like really heavy snow, like even heavier than you get here.
Yeah.
And he rode his bike every day to the gym in the morning.
Yeah.
He told me he would get up at 4:00. He'd be at the gym at 4:30, and he would do all of his training between, say, 5:00 and 7:00. And then he had to go to his full-time job, and he made it to the games. And that year he won, I think, he had 3 event wins that year.
That was, which year was this?
2016.
2016.
That was the last year the games were at the StubHub Center in California.
Yeah. Okay.
Last year it was in the tennis stadium and all of that. But like it is possible, but it is super hard.
Still now? Because the level is increasing quite hard over the few last years.
That's true.
What do you think about it?
I don't know.
It's still because Are there still athletes out there which like have a full-time job? I
guess it depends what you consider a full-time job. If it's like a 9-to-5 job in any kind of environment where they can't do anything but their job between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., probably not. But I know a handful of athletes that could make it this year that have day jobs, but their day jobs are influencing on social media, making videos, making, that's a job too, but it's
right.
It's not 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying is like, do they have a real job? You know what I mean? No offense to them, but like a job that takes up 8 hours of their time a day.
I would say there are also a lot of athletes. They maybe coach somewhere at the box, and that's also a job.
Yes.
But they maybe they train for a few hours, they coach 2 hours, then they can train another few hours, then they coach another hour. So that's maybe possible, but let's say with a full-time job, I don't know what else.
Yeah.
Work on construction or just somewhere like a bus driver or maybe it's too hard.
Maybe
you don't have enough time. Even I would think if you have a regular job, the time to eat at the right time and to have some recovery at the right time, that's quite hard.
Yes, definitely. I think that's the most underrated part of being an athlete that so many of them don't understand is you need to recover from your training.
Yeah.
And if you're not recovering from the training session is worthless. So if you're training 3 times a day, but you're not recovering, you're not sleeping well, you're not eating well, you're wasting that time. You're better off just doing one session, recovering really beautifully, perfectly from it, getting the adaptations from that, and then moving on to the next one.
I had that once when I was the last year in the open division, so before I turned 35.
Yeah.
I just tried to do, let's say, 3 times a week. I tried to do 2 sessions, but I was working full time.
Yeah.
Even I just working at the box, but I tried to train in the mornings, then also work one session, work next session, but then you can't really recover from the training session, and I felt it's not possible for me.
Yeah.
So I really prefer to do one longer session.
Yep.
And then just I'm done then, or just maybe I have to coach after, but I don't. Yeah, I would say that's for me. It's not possible.
Yeah.
And now I'm too old.
I think you're right. I think everybody's different, and you have to find what works best for you, for your lifestyle. And they in the science, the latest science, they say that it's better to, if you're training for maximum strength, for example, you can train for maximum strength multiple times a day. So if you're a weightlifter, you might come in the morning and do your pulls, your snatch pulls, and then you come back at lunchtime and do your squatting and pressing, and then you come back for a third time in the evening and do your accessory work. Yeah. But when you're doing that, that's allowing the optimum amount of hours in between to get some food in and some recovery.
Yeah, of course.
But it takes a special sort of person to come into the gym and get fired up and do that 3 times in one day.
Yeah.
And
that's the motivation part.
Yeah.
You really need to,
This, I like to have my coffee before I train, and then I like just get in and crush it. Coming back for a second session for me as well was always like hard. And I think, you have to have a really big goal, real driving force to motivate you to do those triple sessions a day or double sessions even. I know a lot of athletes that just do one big session, maybe one short aerobic piece in the morning, maybe 30 minutes, and then they do like a 2 or 3 hour session in the day at some point. But also I've seen a lot of athletes take 3 hours to do their training that could really probably do it in an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's right.
Depends how social you are in the
yeah,
gym.
that I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I've seen here. Okay, we don't have any professional athletes, but sometimes, spend 3 hours at the gym, train for 3 hours. Nope, you just train for maybe 90 minutes.
Yeah,
and 90 minutes just
socializing,
chatting, socializing, and take some pictures or whatever. Yeah, but that's okay.
That's a beautiful part of training.
That's.
In our
I would say
culture
that's the difference.
CrossFit.
Yeah, the difference between being a real athlete, focusing on, hey, I want to make it to the games or even to like semifinals or a big competition.
Yeah.
And those guys, I just want to do CrossFit because I love it.
Yeah.
And have fun with my training. Of course, I want to getting better and better and better. But yeah, doesn't matter. I made my 120 clean today or in a half a year.
Yeah.
That's maybe the biggest difference.
Yeah.
I would say it's really hard sometimes if you train that much to don't lose the passion of it, or just because if I'm training, I really love to train.
Yeah.
And if you have to maybe to do it too often, it's like if you have a job, you're doing a job, but on one point, if it's not like your real passion, you will lose your interest of it, and you will look for something else.
Yeah.
That's also a hard part, I would say.
Yeah.
Same if with coaching. Maybe you had the box as well before. You also coached in Australia already?
I had my own box in Australia as
also
well.
your own box
for
in
5
Australia.
years.
Yeah, maybe you know it's the same. If you coach for multiple hours a day, then on one point, even if you have time, you're not that motivated to train anymore because
you're in your work environment.
already 5 times explain the same stuff, coaching for hours.
Yeah.
And then, okay, now I have to train by myself. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe just sit down, have a coffee, and watch some stuff on Netflix, or I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to motivate yourself after.
Oh, definitely.
That's why I really prefer to don't coach too much.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
I really love to be in the environment, but sometimes you need some time off and don't spend time with coaching.
Absolutely. I always found when I was coaching in Australia, at my affiliate, it was only we had 3 coaches at the time, and we'd be coaching like 18 or 20 classes a week each. And sometimes you just need to get out of the building just to have a mental break of the music and the equipment. Like you just need to get out, and then if I could get out for an hour and come back, I felt very refreshed. But I always found it super hard to immediately finish coaching a class, everyone leaves, the energy goes out of the room, and then you got to get some energy back into yourself and try to get yourself going again. That's always been super challenging. But I think just changing from that, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, go and calm down and then come back in, and that always worked for me.
And you also have to be, each hour you have to be energizing, and you have to motivate your people, because otherwise they are not that motivated. They will come back.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a very hard job to be a coach. And I think, and my boss at Brute Strength, Nick Fowler, he always says to us, like, it's a really, really difficult job to be a great coach, and it's highly underappreciated probably how much time every coach puts into their athletes, because you know yourself, when you're coaching a class, it's the same thing. You don't just walk into the class, look at the board. You've been thinking about that. You've been looking at who's coming into class. You've been thinking about those people's strengths and weaknesses, who's got an injury, and you spend so much time thinking about your athletes when you're not actually doing something for them, that that's time that takes away from your energy levels too.
Of course.
Yeah.
What's when you have to think about favorite coaching moment? It was happen in a class or at the one-on-one coaching at the moment? Or do you have some like that one moment you really think about that was great?
I have had the pleasure to help some people back from some very serious injuries, And there's a girl I've been working with in Australia who had a terrible shoulder injury, and she actually hired me as a coach after her shoulder surgery. And at the time, she couldn't even hang on after her surgery, she couldn't even hang on the pull-up bar with straight arms. Like she had lost so much strength and control, and it was painful. And when she got a bar muscle up, she'd had them before, but after her rehabilitation, we'd worked together for months, and she'd been super patient. Seeing her get something that she probably never thought she was going to get again, that's a huge, that gets me really hyped when I see that. I love seeing anyone get a PB.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I just love people doing things that seeing them do things that they previously thought they couldn't. That's so satisfying. Yeah. It really, like, it sounds cheesy, but it's just the next best thing to doing it yourself, seeing someone else do it that you've helped in some way. So yeah, I can't think of anything specific at a competition that I that's really stood out, but I'm probably forgetting something.
And your favorite moment as an athlete?
My favorite
regionals? No, or yes?
I was actually telling Noemi about this when we ran together at the running track today. It's my first boxing fight that I had, my first amateur fight. I knocked the guy out in the first round.
Bam!
And it was the best feeling ever. And at the time, my father, he's passed away now, but at the time he was very sick, and he was in hospital at the time, and he really wanted to come to the fight to watch me, but he couldn't. Yeah. And I was thinking about him. I was very mindful of him in the warm-up area, and I was going through the pad work with my coach, and he was saying to me, "You're looking sharp, Dan. You're looking sharp." And then I threw a double jab cross, and I said, "I'm going to fucking kill this cunt." And he goes, "Whoa, where'd that come from?" Because I wouldn't normally swear. And then when I got into the ring, that combination double jab cross, I threw that, and I hit him right on the chin and knocked him down. And he got up, and I came at him again. I threw a low punch to make him drop his guard, and then I came over the top again, double jab cross. And that time I knocked him unconscious. And that was my best ever sporting performance because it was perfect. I never got hit. I won. And everyone said, "You should retire now because you're undefeated." And I should have retired because I got really beat up in my next fight. Yeah. And but yeah, that was my best sporting moment. But I was really like focused because I was thinking of my dad. I wanted to make him proud. And
I would say that's the mindset. Helps that much,
and just be really, really determined. And that's like something I try to instill in my athletes, that belief in themselves, because I really think if you don't have that belief in yourself, and I've seen that with every top athlete that I've been around, they have strongest belief in themselves and their ability, and that makes a huge difference. Yeah,
that's nice.
And when I said that to Noemi at the track, she goes, "Okay, story's over. Rest time's over. We got to run the next interval." That was fun.
That's nice. Yeah. So now you're here for 2 weeks, 2 more weeks.
I think probably less than 2 weeks now.
Less? No.
Yeah,
I can't leave.
I know. I absolutely love being here at your gym, and living in Lucerne's been a real blessing.
Normally you should move to Lucerne quite earlier.
Yeah, I know.
Not only the last 2 months here in Switzerland.
We started hanging out, and I was coming to train with you a little bit before the pandemic started.
Yeah, I know.
And then when the pandemic started, no one traveled anywhere, even like 40 minutes. And that really halted social life for so many people. Yeah. But yeah, it's great to be here. But yeah, so this week I have to fly back to London to collect my visa, which is a little bit annoying, but I try to see it as also a privilege to get to fly to London again. Yeah. And then when I come back, probably within 5 days, I will leave because they're waiting for me now in Florida.
Yeah, of course. So now because they know your visa is fixed, so they really want to have you over there.
I'm expecting, Donald Trump to meet me at the airport, be like, "Welcome." He lives in Florida, so maybe I'll get to train him one day.
Maybe.
No, I'm excited to get over there. It's going to be I've been to the States a few times just for vacation. Yeah. And it's when you any airport, at some point you go through the airport and you see the Star Spangled Banner, their flag, and it say "Welcome to the United States." And this time it's going to be so different because I'm actually going to be living there, and it still hasn't really sunk in that it's happening. But I'm excited to get over there. But it's also going to be super sad to leave Switzerland because I really love it here. I mean, I could talk to you for a long time about all the things I love about this country, but I really feel like this is a home for me now.
Yeah.
And I hope to come back one day and live here.
We are here.
That's my goal.
Just come back.
Yes.
What was your decision over when you went to Switzerland 3 years ago? 4 years? 5
When
years?
I arrived?
Yes.
Yes, 3.5 years ago. So I arrived in December of 2018.
What was your decision then why you leave Australia and come over to Switzerland?
Well, like I mentioned before, my parents are Irish, so I have an Irish passport and an Australian passport. The two best passports to have, by the way. Two great countries. But with having an Irish passport, I can work in any EU country without any visa, which is very different to the United States. And I was single at the time. I felt like I'd grown my gym in Australia as much as I could, and I really wanted a new challenge.
Yeah.
And I have a brother that was living in Basel at the time. Yeah. And I was talking to him about it, and I was like, I really need a change. And he said, why don't you move to Europe? Like, if you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it? And I've always been pretty courageous with making moves like that. And I just decided to do it. And I invited my coach, Justine, that I mentioned before, the two-time CrossFit Games athlete, out to lunch. And I said, Justine, would you like to buy the gym from me? Because I'm going to move to Europe. And she just went, yes. So I sold it to my best friend. And she was also her and I coached half the classes. Yes. So all the members loved her. They still love her. Yeah. She's best athlete in Australia in CrossFit at the time. And she's grown the business from strength to strength. So I felt really good that the gym was in good hands.
Yeah,
my legacy.
That's really important.
Yeah, I just felt good that I wasn't letting anyone down. Yeah. And I left Australia clean, as in, I don't know what I meant by that. I mean, I wasn't escaping debts I wasn't being hunted by the mafia or anything. I just wanted to have a new experience, and I was very lucky. Like, my brother basically said, you can stay with me and my family for 3 months. Yeah. And if you don't find a job in 3 months, then you go back to Australia. But if you do, you can stay. And actually got the first job I applied for. So I was very lucky.
That was in CrossFit Horgan at that time.
Don't say that again.
Sorry.
Let's never speak about that again. Terrible. No, but so that's why I came. And the reason I chose Switzerland was my brother got married in Italy. Yeah. And my mother and I came over for the wedding. Yes. Which was amazing. It was in Tuscany in the hills. It was absolutely beautiful. And then before I flew back to Australia, I came to Switzerland in the springtime. Yeah. And I absolutely loved it. Like, I couldn't believe how beautiful it was. The butterflies were landing on me in the forest. I was like in a fairy tale, and I was like, this place is really exceptional. And I just thought I have the opportunity, so just try. Yeah. And
you made it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Barely speak any German after 3 years. But you don't really need it. No, you do. I speak a fair bit. I understand a lot more than I can speak.
Yeah. When we finished after that, we do exactly the same whole in German.
I was hoping for that. Swiss German.
Yeah, of course. Natürlich.
Was? No, but something else like I'd like to say is I'm just so grateful for all the people in Switzerland are so welcoming to foreigners, and people here are so kind, and they've always made me feel welcome, and it's such a great place to live. It's hard to say any country is better than your home country, but I think it's like that's Switzerland gets voted in the top 3 best places to live in the world. Australia is also on that list. Yeah. I think Sydney and Zurich, I know Zurich is always like very high on the list. You probably never even see it. Well, us foreigners, we watch this very closely.
It's the same with the Mount Pilatus, just out the door.
Mark's teasing me because I went up Mount Pilatus yesterday, which was great.
I was just a little jealous because I never did it.
It's just there, you just walk down the road. You can take the gondola up there.
So now next step is ahead.
Yeah. And I just want to say thank you for like making me feel like family here, and giving me a key to the gym. And
of course.
I've loved training here, and I'll be back. But you'll probably come to visit me before I come back.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, not I hope so. You also come back as close as you want.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to maybe I try to qualify for the Wudapalooza.
Yeah.
I also
Mark's a machine. I
only
think he's got a good chance.
Want to be there as a spectator. I'm really looking forward because
it
should be a good experience.
It's
well.
great.
Yeah.
Like it was my first experience at Wudapalooza coaching this year just gone, and it's really, really cool. It's probably the most beautiful location for a competition that I've been to.
I would say as a spectator, maybe it's even cooler than the games.
Yeah. The games are awesome as well. The best thing, like for people that haven't gone to the games before, one of the best things about the games is the vendor village.
Yeah.
Like you have
everything.
All of the brands there, all of the products. I mean, you just go there with an empty suitcase because you're going to buy a lot of stuff. And they have all the latest stuff coming out too, all the latest shoes of every company. And the vendor village is really cool. And then, at the CrossFit Games, you'll be in the crowd and you'll see, Catherine David's daughter walk past, or
all the top shots.
Yeah, they're just people at the end of the day, but they're not so standing behind the barbed wire fence. They're interacting with people. You see them on a human level.
It's a little different in our sport than maybe, let's say, if you have a top athlete on, let's say, a top soccer player. If you see him pass somewhere, maybe it's just never
10 bodyguards around him.
Never interacting with you.
Yeah,
but I would say that's the cool point about CrossFit, because I hope it is like this. That even at the high end, at the top end, it's still part of the community.
Yeah,
maybe not. Yeah, depends on the moment, of course.
Yeah,
while the competition is on, so everybody have to be focused, but maybe a little after it, getting quite good.
I remember that the first year I went, have you heard of this supermarket in the United States called Whole Foods?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Whole Foods is super famous, and there was a Whole Foods very close to the venue where we were staying in 2016. And I went into Whole Foods. It was quite late at night. I think it was like 9 o'clock at night. And I can't remember what I was buying. Anyway, I walked into the fruit and vegetable aisle, and Catherine David's daughter was there looking at apples. So I went up to her and I asked her if I could have a photo with her. And I was so starstruck to see her in person. It was the first time I'd come to the States, and I got a photo with her. And I remember I posted on Instagram, and all my friends gave me so much shit. They're like, you fucking fanboy or something like this. And I felt stupid afterwards. But at the time, when you see these stars for the first time, you get really starstruck by them. And it is, I just admire the top athletes in our sport so much. And even though I've seen them all so many times at the games, when I still see them again in person, it's very special. I have a lot of respect for those guys.
Yeah, it's just a huge amount of work they put in, and they just want to show the world what's capable.
Yeah,